I'm Vibha Chauhan and welcome to Jai Hind Classes Funda Clear. So today I will explain Class 9th Geography Chapter 5 and our chapter is Natural Vegetation and Wildlife. So natural vegetation and wildlife. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about the natural vegetation and about the wildlife of our country of India. Now in your daily life, in your day-to-day life, you obviously see different types of species of plants or trees around your home, around your park or around your school, everywhere around you, and that we are going to discuss in this chapter. And if we talk about the natural vegetation, what is natural vegetation? First of all, let us discuss what is natural vegetation. Well, natural vegetation is a plant community that has grown without any human aid, or you could call it naturally. So that has been grown naturally without any human aid and has been left undisturbed by the human beings is known as the natural vegetation, and this specifically is termed as the virgin vegetation. So the virgin vegetation is that vegetation is a plant community that has been untouched by the human beings and has grown naturally. So all those crops that have been cultivated by us, by the human beings, are not counted in the virgin vegetation. So you could say that virgin vegetation and those cultivated crops are two different things. And even in virgin vegetation there are two terms. There can be two divisions, that are indigenous species and the exotic species. Now those plant communities that are purely Indian, that have been grown in India and are purely Indian, are known as the endemic or indigenous species. But those plant community or those species of plant that have been imported from the foreign countries or have been impacted, have been changed because of that foreign country, are known as the exotic plant species or exotic vegetation. So you could say that even in virgin vegetation there can be two broader divisions of the species of plants. And if we talk about the species of plants, then in India there are about 47,000 species of plants of natural vegetation. That makes the 12th position of India in the world and the 4th position in Asia. So that is about the position ranking on the natural vegetation all over world. Well, these rankings go up or down by years, but according to the data given in your book, it is correct. So you could say that 12th position in the world and 4th position in Asia, and there are about 90,000 animal species, because we are going to discuss about the natural wildlife, natural vegetation as well as wildlife of our country. So in natural vegetation there are about 47,000 species of plants, and in that 15,000 species of plants are flowering plants that constitute about 6% of total of the world. So you could say that those are flowering plants. And if we talk about the non-flowering plants that are also present in India, like algae, fungi and many more plants that are present in India that are non-flowering plants. So you could say that that is the structure of the natural vegetation. And if we talk about the wildlife, then there are about 90,000 species of animals in India, and apart from them there are about different types of fishes in marine and fresh water of India. Both in marine water as well as the fresh water of India there are different species of fish. So you could say that different species of birds and fish and animals that constitute in India, that constitute the total percentage of the world. So you could say that all this we are going to discuss in this chapter about the natural vegetation and wildlife. So first we will discuss about the natural vegetation. Well, we have discussed that in natural vegetation there is a concept of virgin vegetation, but there are many factors that affect the natural vegetation. So what are those factors? Let us discuss without ado with our first topic, that is relief. So the first factor that affects the natural vegetation is the relief. Relief, as all of you know that we had discussed in the previous chapter, that relief is a structure above the land. On that land, what is the structure of that is known as the relief feature of that land. So relief also impacts, also has a change on the natural vegetation, and how changes, let's discuss now with our first subtopic, that is land. So land. Now first factor that affects in the relief feature the natural vegetation is the land. Now just think about that. It's very obvious that land affects the natural vegetation of any particular area, the flora and fauna of that particular area. Now flora and fauna, what is the concept of flora and fauna? Let's discuss it first. Now flora means that any plant community of a particular area that is present in that particular area or region, and fauna is about the animal species. So you could say that when we talk about the flora and fauna, they have been affected by many factors that we are discussing. So first is land. Now as all of you know that there can be same type of vegetation in the mountains, in the plateaus and in the plain region. Definitely there will be difference between the vegetation of all these lands, and it is because of the structure of that land, Just think about it. It's very obvious. Can the vegetation of Himalayas be same as of Uttar Pradesh or any northern plains of our country? No, it can't be, because in plain areas there are more and more natural vegetation than compared to that of mountain areas or plateaus. So you could say that land affects natural vegetation very most. Just think about that. The deltic lands or the plateaus don't support that much vegetation, but the plains support so much vegetation, and most of that part is of agricultural land. So you could say that land also affects the natural vegetation. Well, if we talk about the land, just think about that. Whenever there is a plain land, what happens that first we think about agriculture, about converting it into cultivation land, and the remaining plateaus support for the natural vegetation. So you could say that that is the structure of the land that affects the natural vegetation. Now the next factor that affects the natural vegetation or the flora and fauna is soil. So soil is the next factor that affects the flora and fauna of any region. Now we have seen that there is land, but soil is also very important. How the condition of soil is it very meshy, swampy, unfertile or fertile? That also matters. Now just think about that. The soil of the deltas of Ganga, Brahmaputra and the soil of northern plains, are those same? No, they aren't. In the deltic soil, you could say that there are even more and more dense forests, and in those northern plains, those soil is suitable for agriculture. So you could say that soil also depends. The natural vegetation also depends on the soil, because the temperature of soil, the texture of soil, the capacity of soil also matters for the cultivation or for the vegetation of our country. Now you have seen that to make the soil fertile, there are many manures or fertilizers that have been used by the farmers of India. So that is because soil has importance for the vegetation. Just think about it. If soil didn't have any kind of importance in the natural vegetation, then would there be any problem of any kind of vegetation? No, there won't be. But people have to make soil very fertile for a good crop, for a good growth of crops, for a good cultivation, agriculture production. So you could say that for the natural vegetation, soil also matters, and the most important soil, most perfect soil is of the northeastern states. You could say that the deltaic soils. You could say that soil that is found in the plains of the deltas of Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers. So you could say that these are the factors that affect and the relief features of our land, you could say, of our country. Now the second factor that affects the natural vegetation, the flora and fauna, is climate. So climate. Now we have discussed about the relief features. In that we discussed about the land and soil. Now the next factor that affects the natural vegetation, the flora and fauna, is the climate. Now as all of you know that the climate of any place matters so much for any kind of vegetation. And how is it so? Let's discuss with our subtopic, that is temperature. So temperature. Now the temperature along with the humidity in the air, the soil and the precipitation is the most important for any kind of vegetation. It matters the most for the vegetation of any type. Now for example, with the humidity in the air, with the help of soil and with the help of precipitation, what happens then? Just think about that. The vegetation of Himalayan regions and that of southern part of our country, is that same? No, they aren't, because of temperature as well. Well, the temperature is a factor that affects the natural vegetation, that change it from the tropical to subtropical and temperate and to alpine vegetation as well. So you could say that it changes the vegetation from tropical to temperate and alpine as well. So you could say that temperature also is also a very big determinant for any natural vegetation, for any vegetation in our country. Now the next factor is photoperiod or the sunlight. That is the sunlight that is also known here is photoperiod. As all of you know that the process photo means light and period here means sunlight. So you could say that a photoperiod, that is sunlight. Now just think about that. If there is more and more sunlight, wouldn't the forest would grow very faster than compared in the shadow areas? Yes, it is obvious. Just think about that. If we talk about the Himalayan regions, in the Himalayan regions, in that part, if we look about the western part, in that part there is a very good growth of the vegetation compared to that of eastern part, and that is because of sunlight. Because there is more and more sunlight, and that's why their vegetation, the forest there, grows very faster compared to that of other part of Himalayan regions. So you could say that sunlight is very important, because without sunlight, how would the life go on earth? So you have studied about it, and about the sunlight, there is a more faster growth of any plant or of any forest, because of sunlight their food photosynthesis process is being done, and they need the sunlight for their survival. So you could say that is a determinant. Sunlight is also a determinant for the natural vegetation, for the flora and fauna of any region. Now the next factor that affects the natural vegetation is precipitation. Now precipitation, that is the rainfall. Now as all of you know that if there is less rainfall, then there would be thorns or scrubs in the regions of Rajasthan, in the semi-arid regions of our country that are of Gujarat or Rajasthan or a little bit of Uttar Pradesh. There are thorn and scrubs, thorny bushes or scrubs. That is because of less rainfall. But if there is more and more rainfall, then the dense forest would grow up, that would constitute the natural vegetation of our country. So you have to see that rainfall is also a determinant for the growth of vegetation. Now just think about that. In the areas that have heavy rainfall, like for example in the northeastern part of our country or in the southern part of country, haven't you seen so many trees? Haven't you seen so many dense forests? That is because of very heavy rainfall, even more than 200 centimeters. So you could say that is because of high rainfall. Now we have seen that because of rainfall there will be more and more forest. But why do we need forest? What is their importance? Well, all of you know that there is a very great importance of forest. From the forest we get many things like fruits, vegetables, the timber, the wood that we make into furniture, and we need, that from that forest forest we get supplies in the industries as well that run, and in urbanization as well. As all of you know that for urbanization we clear off many forests, so you could say that that is their importance. Many industries are going on because of forest, because of wood supplies or any kind of oil supplies from the forest. So you could say that, and there are medicinal herbs in the forest as well. So you could say that forests are very important for us, and that's why we need them. We can't neglect the fact that they aren't important for us. Now our next topic is ecosystem. So our next topic is ecosystem. Now we have discussed about the factors affecting the vegetation of our country. Now next topic is of ecosystem. What is an ecosystem? Now you know that in any area, if there are particular types of plant species, then there would be different animals if there were different plant species. So you could say that plants and animals are interrelated, are interdependent on each other. Organisms are interdependent on each other, and that system, they form a kind of system that is known as the ecosystem. So you could say that we are interdependent on plants, they are interdependent on animals. So you could say that that is a kind of chain that is being made, and that is known as the ecosystem. Now here human beings are a very important factor for ecosystem. Well, everyone is important factor. Animals are also very important factor for ecosystem, but we affect the ecosystem so much because the main purpose of the human beings is to utilize the forest. But because of the greed of the human beings, what is being done is that there have been more and more utilization, more cutting off, clearing of the forest, and that is affecting the flora and fauna of our country. Now just think about that. If there are so much cuttings of the forest, then there would be less habitat of the animals, and where would those animals go? They would just disappear, and that's why many species of plant are endangered or have become extinct, and the same goes for the animals. Many animals or birds have become extinct or are endangered, so for them sanctuaries, wildlife sanctuaries or natural bioreserves are also made, that we will discuss later in this chapter. So you could say that there is a concept of ecosystem that we have to understand. Well, all organisms are interrelated, are interdependent on each other, thus forming an ecosystem, and that gets affected by the processes that are being done by the human beings. So you could say that is about the ecosystem. Now our next topic is types of vegetation. So types of vegetation. Now so far we have discussed about the factors affecting the natural vegetation and about ecosystem. Now our next topic is about what about the vegetation. There are you could say that in India you could find 5 types of vegetation. That our first one is tropical evergreen forests. So tropical evergreen forests. So from the name you can say what it is. Tropical evergreen forest. Tropical, that means they are found in a tropical region and are found in India as well. So if we have to divide our vegetation, then we could say that in India tropical evergreen forests are also found. Now if we talk about the tropical evergreen forest, now they are found in the areas that they are at their best at the areas with rainfall more than 200 centimeters, around or more than 200 centimeters, and we know that they are found in the areas of Western Ghats, in the island groups of Andaman and Nicobar and the Lakshadweep, and in the Tamil Nadu coast as well, and they are also found a bit in the upper part of Assam. So these are the regions of India where these forests are found. So you could say that because they have a heavy rainfall, and that's why they don't have to shed their leaves, and that's why for the whole year, throughout the year, they remain green, and that's why they have been named as evergreen forest, that remain green for all the months of the year. So you could say that they are also found in some regions of our country. Now the most important important trees, commercial important trees of these forests are mahogany, ebony, rosewood, cinchona, and many more other trees. So you could say that these are some of the most important commercially trees that are found in these forests. That forests are found in our country in the southern part and in the upper part of Assam. Now, as they have a very great rainfall, a very heavy rainfall, that's why they are very dense forests, you could say, and are multi-layered. In these forests, all different types of vegetation like creepers, and many different types of creepers, shrubs, and trees, plants are found that make it a multi-layered forest, and they can be as high as 60 meters or even above than that. So you could say that their height is also very good, very well, that is even more than 60 meters or about 60 meters or more than 60 meters. So you could say that is about the tropical evergreen forest that remain green for all throughout the year and are very canopy. They make a kind of canopy in these forests and are very dense forests, you could say. Now the next type of vegetation, next type of forest that are found in India are tropical deciduous forests. So tropical deciduous forests. Now that we have seen about the tropical evergreen forest, now the next ones are tropical deciduous. Now most of the part of our country, most of the part of India, land surface of India is covered by these type of forests, that is tropical deciduous forest. Now tropical deciduous forests are those forests that are found in the rainfall around 200 to 70 centimeters, between 200 centimeters to 70 centimeters. So those forests are called as a tropical deciduous forest. And even in tropical deciduous forest, there can be two types of deciduous forest, that are moist deciduous forest and the dry deciduous forest. Now the first one, that is a deciduous forest, that is a moist deciduous forest, is found in the areas having rainfall even more than 100 centimeter, between 200 centimeter to 100 centimeter. So you could say that are the moist deciduous forest. And if we talk about where they are found, then they are found in the region of northeastern. You could say that all in the northeastern part of our country, northeastern states, they are found mainly with the slope of Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, and the Himalayan mountains. So you could say that with the slope of these mountains and Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, some of the states, they are found mainly in the northeastern states of our country, that are Meghalaya, Mizoram, Tripura, Nagaland, those states that are found in the northeastern part, because in that area there is a very good rainfall for the deciduous forest to be grown. And the most important trees, commercially important trees that are found in these forests are bamboo, sal, teak, shisham, kusum, arjun. These are some of the trees that are found in these forests. Now the next type of deciduous forest is a dry deciduous forest. Now these forests are found in the areas having a rainfall less than 100 centimeter, between 100 to 70 centimeters, you could say. So you could say that the rainier part of the peninsular plateau, they are found in those parts, in Uttar Pradesh, in the parts of Uttar Pradesh, in the rainier parts of peninsular plateau. They are mainly found in the parts of Haryana, you could say, and in Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar, you could say. They are mainly found in the regions of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, because they are the part of peninsular plateau, the rainier parts of the peninsular plateau. And the most important trees that grow here are peepal, neem, bamboo, and sal. So you could say that these are some of the important trees that grow in these type of forest. Now, if we talk about the animals that are found in these forests are the tigers, the lions, the deers, the rabbits that are mainly found in these forests. And in the tropical evergreen forest, the animals that are found are elephants, lemur, these type of animals, and different types of snakes, lizards, reptiles are also found. And you know what? That the one-horned rhinoceros are also found in the region of Assam. There is a national park, that is Kaziranga National Park, where they are reserved. There are reserved one-horned rhinoceros. So you could say that there are different animals that are found in the different types of forests. Now the next type of forest is the thorn forest and scrubs. So the thorn forests and the scrubs. Now that we have seen about the forest, now there are thorn forests as well that grow in the semi-arid regions, that are the semi-arid regions of our northwestern part, that is the Gujarat, the Rajasthan, the Haryana, the Uttar Pradesh, you could say, and many other states. You could say that these are some of the important states where these forests grow. Now what happens that because in these regions there is a very less rainfall, even less than 70 centimeters, and that's why the dry plants grow in these regions, that are cacti or cactus, you could say. There are acacias, palms, euphorbias. So these are the plants that grow in these regions, and thus leading to thorn forest, because those trees don't have leaves, and even if they have, then they will be very broader, you could say. So you could say that those are the trees or plants with no leaves, and you could say that they have a very long root. Their roots are very deeper in the soil to get moisture from the soil, even very underneath, you could say. So you could say that these thorn forests and scrubs grow in the semi-arid region of our country, and the animals that are found in these regions are mostly the reptiles. Different types, you could find different types of reptiles, different types of lizards, you could say, reptiles, and many other animals like rabbits, fox, wolves that are found in these forests, that are the thorn forest or the scrubs, you could say. So you could say that are also found in India, the northwestern part of our country. Now the next type of forest is montane forest. So montane forest, as from the name, anyone can say that what they are. Now montane forests are those forests that grow in the mountains. So you know what, that when the altitude increases with the temperature decreasing about the sea level, then what happens that there will be a great type of vegetation too. Like for example, if we talk about the vegetation of the montane forest, then if we talk about it, then it would be of altitude around 1000 to 2000 meters. The trees that grow are the chestnuts or the broadleaf oak trees. So those are the trees that are found at the altitude of 1000 to 2000 meters, and in the altitude of 1500 to 3000 meters there are different trees that grow, like deodar, cedar. There are all types of coniferous trees. Coniferous, as all of you know, that are triangular in shape in their roof, you could say. In the upper part they are a little bit triangular in shape. So all those type of tree like silver fir, and you could say that cedar, deodar, all those trees grow in that altitude. So you could say that is the vegetation of that area, and even above than that, when the latitude increases, it will lead to tundra region, and before that it also leads to alpine vegetation. But that alpine vegetation gets submerged by the scrubs and shrubs into alpine grasslands, and those grasslands are, we could say that, are grazed by the pastures of gujars and bakarwals. So you could say that by tribal communities they have been overgrazed. They have been grazed by the pastures of the tribal communities like gujars or bakarwals of that region. So you could say that whenever there is alpine vegetation, it gets converted into alpine grassland and leading to the pasture land, leading as the grazing land for the pastures of tribal communities. And if we talk talk about the animals, the wildlife, the fauna of that area, then the animals that are found are the ibex, the bear, you could say the bear, the rare red panda. There are different types of panda, you could say. There are different types of bear, you could say, and there are snow leopards as well, Kashmir stag as well, and there are yaks and antelopes as well. Antelopes that are Tibetan antelopes. So those are some of the sheep and goats as well. Sheep and goats are the most important one because they have a lot of fur on them, and that's why wool is made from the fur of those animals. So you could say that in those areas, in the montane forest, these type of animals are found. Now the last forest that are found in India are mangrove forest. So mangrove forest, that is the last typical forest that is found in India. Now if we talk about the mangrove forest that are found in the coastal areas influenced by the tides. So they are a tidal forest, you could say. So these are generally found in the coastal areas that are influenced by the tides, and their roots are very deeper in the water. And you know what, that in that area silt and mud get accumulated with each other, and that region becomes a kind of swampy, marshy region. So you could say that is the situation of mangrove forest. Well, in India there are very little parts where the mangrove forests are found, like the delta of Godavari, Ganga, Kaveri, Krishna and Brahmaputra are the regions where these mangrove forests are found. And Royal Bengal tigers, you know what, that Royal Bengal tigers are the most important animals that are found in these forests. You know what, that in these forests Sundari trees grow so much, and that's why there is a delta, that is Sundarban Delta, the largest delta of the world, populated delta of the world, and it has been named as Sundarban because in that delta there are trees that are Sundari trees so much, and that's why it has been named so. So you could say that in mangrove forest there are Sundari trees and other trees as well, like palms, coconuts and agar and many other trees. So you could say that is about the mangrove forest, and other animals like crocodiles, gharials, turtles are also found in these forests. So that is about the mangrove forest that are you might have also seen in some of the movies. In many movies mangrove forests are also shown in animated as well as the real movies. So you could say that is about the mangrove forests. Now next and last topic of this chapter is wildlife. So wildlife. Now so far in this chapter we have discussed about the flora of our country, but what about the fauna? Let's discuss about the wildlife of our country as well. Just as I explained in starting of this chapter, that in India there are approximately 90,000 species of the animals, and if we talk about the birds, then there are approximately 2,000 species of birds present in India that make around 6% of total of the world. And if we talk about the fishes that are present in India, then there are about 2,546 species of fish in India, both in fresh water as well as marine water. And if we talk about the amphibians, reptiles and mammals, then they constitute about between 5 and 8% of total of the world. So you could say that is the structure of the wildlife of our country, that is how many there are. Well, if we talk about the mammals, then the most majestic mammal is the elephant. Elephant, as all of you know, that from a very long history, from the time period of kings, you could say the royal monarchy, there has been a use of elephants, and that's why they are of great importance in our country. They are in many states of our country, they are even worshipped by the people. So you could say that they are very important in our country, and they are found in the hot and wet dry forest of our country. You could say that hot and wet forest forest of our country that are around Karnataka, Kerala, in that region of our country. So Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu are the states where these elephants are found mainly. So you could say that is about elephants. And if we talk about the coastal areas, then the most important animals that are found in the coastal areas are the crocodiles, the gharials, the turtles, you could say. Now gharials are a species of crocodile that are seen nowadays. So you could say that crocodiles, gharials, you don't have to mind that much. Now if we talk about the extreme temperatures of our country, now in extreme temperatures like in the Himalayan mountains at Ladakh region of our country, where there is a very extreme cold temperature, there are still many animals that adapt themselves in that region, that are the yaks, the Tibetan antelopes, the nilgai, that is a blue bull, or you could say chauhan, that is a four-horned antelope. So you could say that many animals are found in the Ladakh region of our country as well, like those furry animals, snow leopard, or you could say that those furry animals like sheep, yaks and goats are found in that region. So you could say that animals, there is a variety of animals that are found in India. And if we talk about the animals, then they are important in the ecosystem as well. But as all of you know that there is very bad influence of the human beings in the ecosystem. What happens now is that because of greedy hunters, because of the pollution from the industries, because of urbanization, many plant species have become endangered or extinct, or many animal species have become endangered or extinct. Well, if we talk about the plant species, then about 1300 plant species have been endangered, and around that many of them are more than 100 species. Around 100 species have been extinct as well. So you could say that many plant species have been extinct. And you know what, that in India there is a very great importance of the plants or the trees, because in India different types of medicinal herbs are found. From a very long history, there is a science of our country, that is the Ayurveda. Now in Ayurveda, all those medicinal herbs were used, and you know what, that there are over 13,000 species, there are 13,000 medicinal herbs in our country. It has been proved that 500 medicinal herbs are used in daily life of the citizen of India, and it has been proved by the international institutions as well. Now in the international institutions, it has been seen that the Ayurvedic, you could say that Ayurvedic herbs in India are threatened. Those herbs that are found rarely in the world are found in India, that are threatened or endangered are found in India as well. Now some of the most important medicinal herbs of our country are the Sarpgandha, the Arjun, the Ashwagandha, the Gilay, the Neem, the Tulsi. These are some of the medicinal herbs that are used in the daily life of the people of India. So you could say that in India there are different types of medicinal herbs that are found, and we were going to talk about if we talk about the extinction, about the endangered, then there are many animal species that are endangered as well, and quite a few of them have become extinct as well. And for that, what has been done? Now there must be responsibility of the government as well, and that's why there have been programs by the government, like for example for the tigers reservement, and for the rhinoceros, the great rhinoceros, the project rhino, the project tiger, the project great Indian buster. They have been started to reserve all these animals, to save, to protect all these animals. And you know what, that many biosphere reserves are also built in our country, are also situated in our country, and 4 of them that are the Nilgiris, that are in the 3 states, that is extended in the 3 states. Nilgiris, the Gulf of Mandar, that is in Tamil Nadu, the Nanda Devi of Uttarakhand, and the Sundarbans of West West Bengal has been mentioned in the international biosphere reserves. So you could say that in the international biosphere reserves, 4 of the biosphere reserves of India have been listed down. So it is a good work, you could say. So you could say that for protecting the animals, there have been many projects, many national parks, like around more than 90 national parks are built in India, and many zoological parks, gardens are also built in India. And after 1992, there has been a very great fund to them as well. So you could say that that is all that is being done for the animals to save the wildlife. Now there is a ban to kill tigers to protect them. You know what, that at the time the number of tigers had reduced to 1500, but that has now increased even more than 3000 because of these plans. So you could say that we have to protect the wildlife, and that's all we have discussed in this chapter. Now in this chapter, from starting to last, we have discussed about the natural vegetation and wildlife. Now we first saw the factors affecting the natural vegetation, that we saw about the land, the soil. Now for the soil, you all of you know that is very important for any vegetation or for any land, you could say. And we saw about the climate, the temperature, the precipitation or the sunlight. Now we saw that in sunlight, we saw the importance of sunlight. The northern part of Himalaya receives less sunlight than compared to southern part of Himalaya region, and that's why that southern part is covered even more thicker forest, you could say, more thicker vegetation, and that's why you could say that sunlight is also very important. And after that we saw about ecosystem, and after that different types of forests that are found in India: the tropical evergreen forest, the tropical deciduous forest, the thorn and scrubs, and we saw about the mountain forest and the mangrove forest. And after that we have seen about the wildlife. So we have discussed all these in this chapter, and this chapter you have studied a little bit about in the previous classes as well. So that's all we have discussed in this chapter, and there is only one remaining last chapter of this book that will be covered in the further upcoming video. So thank you very much.